Hello guys, welcome to the second part of the electrical wiring tutorial. If you remember from the past tutorial, we ended up at a state where we can trace our way through the environment and we can switch between mechanical and free mode. And on the free mode we still do the shooting, and on mechanical mode we're currently not doing anything. So that's going to change now. One thing we need to do now is add the electrical, I have to see what I called it, I think the electrical plug component. Energy production, let me just take a quick look here. Yeah, electrical plug component to our generators and to our consumers. So let's go back to tutorial 5 maybe. I just reference my old project here. So BP solar generator derives from our generator class, BP generator class, and the BP generator class we are going to change it to make it derive from BP wireable, and by changing it we managed to get some of these things to work, namely the selection box, and also we also need to change, I think the battery needs to change as well. Let me just take a quick look. Yeah, battery needs to become also derived from the BP wireable, just so it has the selection box to it. And now we see all of these in the scene. One thing we need to do though is adjust the size of the box to the size of the model, just so it becomes a little bit neater. In the battery case it's very easy. We just go to the viewport and we basically select the selection box and we scale it down to some value that will match the battery size. So I'm going to do 0.25, 0.15 and 0.2. It's going to exactly match the battery size. If we take a look now, it looks cool. I am also going to do where is that, either on game by default. So actually it should be either on game by default, so I'm just gonna leave it here. Let me try this. It is not, so let's do either on game here, and now we don't see it unless we hover with our cursor. Okay, we need to do the same for the generator. In this case I'm going to the BP solar generator, the viewport, and I am going to change the selection box to be to have slightly better dimensions, so 0.7, 0.5, 0.1. High tab. And I am also going to do hidden on game. I think I didn't have to do it in my other project. I probably did. Oh, I set it by default, which I didn't in this case, but that's fine. That's okay. Well, you know what? Let's just go to the BP wireable and select the selection box. Select the selection box and put it select hidden in game by default. And this way, it should be always hidden for all of them. And if I hover, yeah. So, and now I can see the selection that I have, and it should all be fine. One thing though, this one is still like gigantic. Let's change it. I think I need to select, let me see, probably the wave generator and it derives from BP generator, so already implements the wearable. I just need to change this a little bit. So I'm going to change the selection box to be 0.5, 0.1, and 0.5. It's going to be something like that. Now, the selection box is going to rotate, so I want to change that because I don't want this to happen. See? When it keeps constantly selecting and then selecting. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to go to the event graph of the wave generator. And instead of rotating the entire actor, I'm just going to rotate the box. If I can. Oh, I can't. Oh yeah, it needs to be add local rotation. And we need to use this node instead of the other one. And the rotation is still the same. I'm just gonna get rid of this one. And we're basically just rotating the box and leave the selection still. So it's still rotating, but now the object itself is not rotating. Okay, cool. So what happens if I try to click on a solar panel? Oh, I spawned the cable. But apparently there's something wrong. I am apparently connecting both ends to the character, which is something I do not want. Still fun though. And I guess that's because I don't have the electrical plug component here. Yes, I get none while trying to get the component property, and that's why it is failing. So let's go to, so the electrical plug component is inherited from let me see, BP solar generator. Yeah, I don't have it here and I need to have it, so I need to add the electrical plug component. I think I'm going to add it to the generator or to the BP wearable. Yes, I think it was in the BP wearable. Let me take a quick look. Yes, it was. So let's open up. I remember I said I would probably not need it. Actually, I do need it. So let's add the component and electrical plug component. Let's add it here. I don't think it needs anything special. I think it should just be really simple. The cool thing now is that we can go to, for instance, the solar generator, and we could specify exactly where we would like the electrical plug component to be. So we could just do like this and connect it to a corner, for instance. And this means if I plug it here, I plug it to the corner. See, this is why it's handy to have the component. It's because I can just plug to wherever location I want it to come off from the component. So let's say like this, and I think it's, yeah, it's in the middle. So if I go like this, I just plug it to that particular spot, which is kind of cool. You could have like a 3D model just representing the place where you want to connect it to. Okay, cool. So in principle, I should be able to now connect this to, well, not to another power source. That's not going to work. Not to another power source, but to this one. And it also doesn't work. So I definitely have something wrong here. I can connect to the power source, but I cannot connect to the consumer. Let's try the other way around. Let's try to connect first to the consumer. Ah, there's something wrong with the consumer connection. So let's see what's going on. So third person character, let's follow the flow on the event graph. If I am in mechanical mode, I try to attach a cable, let's say we go through this route, which is we don't have a cable yet, but I am trying to connect to consumer. This part works fine. It spawns in the correct position. It does the attach to, but now there's something wrong here for sure. Not sure if it's in the attach consumer function, maybe, or if it's just the fact that it cannot find the energy container when I click it. We can debug it, so let's do a print string here and let's add in the name of the container. So going here, and now I'm going to press click energy container component. So I have something here to connect to, so this is all fine, which means that probably something is wrong in here. Oh, there's definitely something wrong here, I think. Let me see exactly what. Attach consumer. Yes, there is something wrong here. I forgot to attach the consumer, and that's never gonna work. So now I click, I'm attached to the battery. If I try to connect to another battery, it doesn't work. If I try to connect to a solar panel, bingo, we have a connection. Now I'm not sure the coloring is still going to be fine. Probably not, because I'm not doing anything with it yet, but I can already connect stuff around, so that's pretty funny. And since I enabled physics, you can see that the cable actually stops on the ground, doesn't go down on the ground, and actually also kind of tries to stay on top of things, which is pretty cool. Now, for demonstration purposes, let's duplicate this battery here, put it outside of the radius of any generator, just so it does not get any energy by default. And there's some things I need to do. So first thing, I want to register, whenever I connect the cable, I need to register that producer or that consumer in the producer, so it starts getting energy from it. So one thing I'm going to do is, whenever I update the connection, actually no, I'm going to do it on the attach both function. The attach both function gets called whenever I have both plugs connected. I am going to call something on the power source. So I'm going to get the power source. I'm going to call a function called register cable, and I'm going to pass self as the cable, but I need to create this function. So I am going to create this function inside the energy production component. So we need to go back to the solar panel tutorial, energy production component. I'm going to create a new function called register cable. Inside this function, I am going to get an input, a BP cable. Oh, sorry, let me just call it cable. BP cable reference, and I am going to create a variable here called cables, and it's going to be BP cable array. So array, and I'm going to do I'm going to get the cables, do a add unique, just so we know we never add it more than once, even if we try to add it twice. And that's it. I'm just storing the cables, registering them to receive energy as well. So I have the register cable. Now I actually need to I don't think I need to change anything else here. I do need to change something in the cable itself. I have to look it up. The produce energy, I don't think I need to change anything here, or in the add receiver. Yeah, register cable as unique, and then okay, let's do the coloring part first. I'm gonna add a new function here called update cable colors. No inputs, it's just going to do a for loop on the cables. And for each of the cables, we want to make a linear color. Actually, I want to do this just once. I want to get the energy production, divide it by the max energy production, so we get the percentage of how much we are generating right now. And I'm going to make this the red component of this, and I'm going to put the alpha to 1. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the material from this cable. And on this material, I am going to set a vector parameter value. I am going to change the color of the cable to wherever the amount of electricity being produced by this power source. So one thing I could do actually is also check how many receivers I have, divide that energy production by the number of the receivers, and that would be the actual color of the cable. I'm just putting it, I'm putting the color as the max, or the current capacity, or the current generating capacity of this power source, and that's not actually what's going to go into that component. It's only going to go a small percentage because it might be powering up other items as well. That would be yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do that because it's gonna be much more true, the amount of power. So I'm gonna get the receivers, I'm gonna get a length on this, and apart from doing that, I am actually going to divide this by the number of receivers, and that's the correct way to do it. So we get less red the more connected things we have to that power supply, which kind of makes sense. So now I need to add a receiver. I have to see where I did that, to be honest, because I do not remember. I think I did it on the attach to. Yes, I did. So whenever I call attach both on the BP cable, yes. Okay, so let's complete the attach to first. So I attach both, and then after attaching both, I have to go to the power source and add a receiver, and the receiver is the consumer. I know the naming sucks. I should probably be more consistent in naming, but you know, can't be bothered. And now let's go back to attach both, and after we update the connection, so we make the cable all neat and proper, we are going to register the cable with the power source, just so we can update the color, and we're going to pass self as the cable. Cool. So let's see if this works. So I'm going to this solar panel, I'm going to connect it to this battery, and I have no power. I'm going to connect this power source to this battery, and I still have no power. Okay, I did see registered components. It is generating, it's just not updating the color. So you can see that the wave power is powering this battery, and whenever the sun is going to come up, it will start generating more power, or power faster on this battery, because the cable is now connected and it has two power sources giving it power. So you can see that it's speeding up quite a bit, the charging of the battery, and whenever the sun is going away, it's going to reduce again because it's going to generate only from the wave power. So it's now much slower to generate. But the only thing we're missing is the colors, and the reason it's not doing anything is because on the energy production component, I'm not actually updating the colors on the receivers. So I need to go to the event graph of the energy production component, if I'm not mistaken, and after calling produce energy, I'm just going to call update the cable colors, and that should be it in principle. So if I just connect this power source to this, I see a little bit of red, so it's producing power. Now I am going to connect this one to this one here, and this red, even though we're not seeing it, it should start to become a little bit darker and darker because it's producing energy to more power sources. And now I'm going to connect this to this one, and you can yeah, they're all roughly the same because this power source, this solar panel is actually powering 4 batteries at once. And let's see if this one is out of juice now. I'm going to create a separate one just so you see the difference in color when it's powering up just one. Let's just wait for the sun to come up. Oh, I love our drone flying up there. And waiting for the sun to come up. Come on. There you go. Slightly brighter red because it's just powering one battery. I'm just gonna create like a duplicate of this solar panel here, the one on the ground that produces the most power. I'm gonna move it way down here so it doesn't produce energy for anything, and I am going to connect it to this battery, and you get like a nice red when the sun is up, of course. And if you compare it to the other red that is coming from the from the wind generator, sorry, from the wave generator, the color should be a little bit different. When it's full power, it's like full red, full red. So there you have it. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a little bit about the U cable component. It's a bit tricky to set up, but once it's done, it's done. You can use it for pretty much anything. You could do like a big power grid around this and powering up lights. That's maybe what I'm going to do on the next tutorial, just implement some poles with lights and power them up with cables. That would be a neat thing. So until then, I hope you liked it, and see you later, guys.